Okay, so for the Persona 5 leaks, first there's P5R. Persona 5, the Royal, the one that was sort of kind of announced at their last reveal. I mean, it's like you showed it to us, but that's pretty much it. We don't really know what exactly the game's going to be. But from the leaks that I have seen, and then just from the data that's out there, it looks like Persona 5R will be more than just a re-release of Persona 5, with extra content. It looks like P5R might be much closer to a sequel, mainly because on the Japanese site, there was data for a calling card for a new Phantom Thief. And, if there's a new Phantom Thief, that's a pretty big deal. And let me see. Yeah, a new Phantom Thief, and it's not going to be that new female character that we saw at the last trailer. So if you factor in the fact that this female character is going to play an important role in P5R, and we also have a separate new Phantom Thief, I mean, it's sounding like this is going to be a noticeably different game. Also, I don't know if you guys caught this, but it was Akechi who was asking the girl in the last trailer those questions. If you guys played Persona 5, I'm sure you have your thoughts about that. And either I'm thinking that this game is going to have some interesting reveals, and it's going to be a sequel, or I think that part of this game is going to start somewhere during Persona 5, or at the very least there will be flashbacks to Persona 5. That's what I'm thinking. Either that, or it's literally just a full sequel that takes place completely after the events of Persona 5, just from what I've seen. But honestly, between this female character that was introduced, her, and the fact that the last Phantom Thief in your party that you get in the vanilla Persona 5 needs to have more time in terms of exposure, and the fact that we're getting a whole new Phantom Thief, honestly, I mean, it would be really difficult to just shoehorn all of that into the vanilla P5 story, honestly. So I really think that this is more pointing to a sequel sort of a game than a re-release. But of course they do mention that there is going to be a female MC, which that'll be awesome. We had one in P3 for P3P, so I'm sure that people would enjoy the female MC for Persona 5. Oh yeah, before I forget, shout out to Combo. I don't think he's here on the stream right now, but shout out to him, aka Vedran on Twitter. He made an intro banner for me for my stream. I really appreciate it. It has one of my favorite Ruby characters, Crow, in it. It looks great. The thing is, I unfortunately can't use it yet because I don't have a capture card. You need a capture card to use OBS. I don't have one yet, unfortunately. If I did, I would love to stream Joker gameplay for you guys in Smash, and be able to just stream games without having to worry about, oh, is this scene blocked, is that scene blocked, things like that. I would love that. I just don't have one, right now. But I definitely will be using his intro banner in the future. So once again, thank you so much for that, bro. Alright, P5... Oh yeah, moving on to P5S. You guys already know, it's going to be a port to the Switch. It's going to be a vanilla port, a port of vanilla P5, not Persona 5 the Royal. That's that. I'm sure they're going to unveil it later this month. And then also, P5A, Persona 5 Arena, according to the leak, it is one of the projects that Atlus, has planned. I think that was pretty obvious, though, because if you look at the, their initial P5 project reveal from the end of last year, and also the more recent reveal, then you'll see that underneath the screen that's most to the left, they have some text there that's in the same font as Persona 5, or I'm sorry, as Persona 4 Arena. It just says PU, but it's the same font as the other Arena games, so that pretty much confirmed it right there. But with this leak, I'm sure that this is a thing. Persona 5 Arena is a thing, you know. The thing though is that it's not that far in development. ArcSys has obviously been busy working on other games. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Dragon Ball FighterZ has been getting its fair share of bugs recently since its bigger update. You know, in case you guys didn't know, the arcade version of BB Tag, you know, they're working on that right now, and then of course they have localization with that to worry about. Then they're also working on Kill la Kill If, because they're working with A+, you know, part of their Guilty Gear team is over there. And then they also have been working on the Guilty Gear remaster or re-release that's coming out next month. I will talk about that in just one second. But anyway, they've been busy. Now, they said here in this leak that there's been a small team who's constantly been working on P5A. That does seem believable. And they said that the full development of the game will start after Grand Blue Fantasy Versus is finished. That makes a bunch of sense. Now, here's one of the bigger things relating to P5A. Yo, Gray, I do agree with that. At the time, it does seem like Arc System Works is prioritizing... Yeah, they are prioritizing the other companies' games over theirs. And, like, I'm not gonna... I mean, like, I've said that plenty of times before. Like, that's... Yes, that is the case. I hope that that's not the case for that much longer. We'll have to wait and see. But, let me see here. The biggest thing about this leak, it says that P5A should be in a modified engine of fighters. So that means that Persona 5 Arena will be a 2.5D game. They will be using 3D models that are made to look 2D, just like how Fighters, you know, uses 3D models, but it looks, you know, extremely close to the anime. Now, originally, I was hoping that Persona 5 would get a sprite treatment, but have, like, an extra level of detail with their sprites. And I'll touch more on that a little bit later in terms of what I mean. But since it's already confirmed that it's going to be, you know, in like a similar engine to Fighters, personally, the way I want it to look, or the way I'm hoping it looks, if you look at Persona 5 gameplay at 60 frames per second on YouTube, if you just look somewhere where they have like a PS3 emulator running at 60 frames, check it out. It looks really fluid, and the game looks so much better at 60 frames per second than it does 30 frames per second. Now, imagine that being on a 2D plane for a fighting game. That is exactly how I hope Persona 5 Arena will look. I really think that if they do it that way, it'll capture the exact, you know, vibe and the style of Persona 5. It'll look extremely stylish. You know, and of course the characters do need to be animated at 60 frames per second. I know that people have said that they can't see Persona 5 Arena being in that engine, and that's because with all those other games, with Xrd, with Dragon Ball FighterZ, and even with Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, they animate it to look similar to the anime. That's how they animate those games. Now, they could have all the movements 60 frames per second. They could do that. But I really hope that with Persona 5 Arena they animate it at a full 60 frames per second, because that's... I think that it would just look right at, you know, being animated in that way. So that's what I'm hoping for. You know, because with the other games they just intentionally restrict the frame data, or the frames, you know, on the character's moves, so that it looks a certain way. So I'm hoping they don't do that with Persona 5 Arena. But it'll probably be a little bit before we see any gameplay of the game. So, you know, there's that. Yeah, I mean, Gray, they, you know, next month, man, next month, we're gonna see what they have in store for BB Tag, bro. Next month. I mean, at this point, there's nothing else I mean, to really say about it. It's just that next month, man, that we just gotta wait and see. Also, in other news, the PS5 was officially, somewhat announced. We don't have the official name for it, but we're gonna call it the PS5 for the sake of convenience. So, one of the lead creators for the PS5 had an interview with Wired.com, and it was confirmed that it's going to be backwards compatible with PS4 games. You know, we don't know anything about, you know, PS3 or PS2, etc. Hopefully they get confirmed later. That would be a really hype announcement. I think it was kind of predictable that it would be backwards compatible with PS4 games, but we'll see. You know, so the good thing though is that, you know, if you think about it, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus is about to come out, and we have, you know, BB Tag that's out on PS4. We have Kill la Kill If that's coming out on PS4, and of course, I'm pretty sure that Persona 5 Arena will be a PS4 game. I don't think they're going to make a PS5 version of the game, but it doesn't matter. The great thing about it is that we'll be able to pick up a PS5 should they, you know, provide a console that people really want to play. And then, you know, you'll be able to play your PS4 games on there, including BB Tag, you know, P5A, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. All of them would be playable on the PS5 at launch, and I think that's great. That's great for devs. Now, on to the PlayStation 5. It does sound like it's a great console. It sounds like it's going to be very powerful, very capable, and that it is going to be, you know, a very strong next-gen console when it comes to its specs. But I just want you guys to think about it with how they've been censoring things. And one of you guys actually earlier on my stream said that they officially said that they are working to censor Japanese devs. Okay? The PlayStation has been the home of anime games for so long. It's been home to so many Japanese games. I mean, if you think back to it, so many Japanese games have been exclusive to PlayStation for a long time. If you guys really don't want this censorship to become a norm, I really think that, you know I'm not going to. I'm personally not going to. I'm not going to purchase the PS5 until they get rid of this stupid censorship BS that they've been, you know, trying to enforce, you know, as of very recently, and also until they stop trying to, you know, keep the PlayStation user base away from, you know, other companies' user bases, and I mean crossplay, because you know that Sony has been excluding, you know, they've been excluded from crossplay because they don't want to be a part of it. They've been excluding themselves. You know, if you look at the Power Rangers, you know, new fighting game, just an example. It is a fighting game, and it is, you know, one of the recent ones to have crossplay, and it's, you know, a smaller game. I'm sure that bigger fighting games would love to you know, have this as well. But with that game, it's, you know, crossplay compatible between Switch, Xbox, and I believe PC, not with the PlayStation 4. Because Sony doesn't want, you know, Sony is blocking themselves off from being a part of this whole crossplay thing. And I think that's a problem, personally. So, no matter how good that console is, if you guys really, you know, if you really don't want Sony to go down this road, because honestly, Sony has been doing great. The PS4 life cycle overall has been great. They've been doing a great job. They really have. It's only the censorship and this crossplay issue. Those are the only two things that I can even say, you know, are really big tarnishes on their record. If we can just get them off their stupid high horse and understand that, hey, you need to listen to your, you know, your player base, to the people who are purchasing your product, and we're not going to buy it unless you know, stop being, you know, so anal about crossplay and censorship. You know, until they understand that, they're going to think that they're golden. So I really think it would hit them hard if the PS5 launched, and if they haven't changed those, you know, their stances on those two things, that it just doesn't sell nearly as well as they planned for it to. That would really hit them. You know, just an idea. Yeah, Gray, I do agree, man. It is sad that they've, you know, done this. I have no idea why, but, you know, I don't know why they would do this. This is really dumb. Just as an example, you know, I mentioned it before, but the Senran Kagura 7 game, that's a PlayStation exclusive game. They're censoring their own exclusives at this point. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It's literally like, oh, hey, we know that, you know, your exclusive game on our console that has a bunch of anime fans. Yeah, oh yeah, that's gonna be, you know, really nice for our system, but we're gonna censor you. That's dumb. That's just dumb. And Sony is a Japanese company. Keep that in mind. I honestly have no idea what they're doing, you know, but whatever. Moving on past that, you know, yes, there was a couple of other things to the PS4. Yeah, you know, it seems really capable. They tried Spider-Man between PS5 dev kit and, you know, the PS4 Pro. Loaded so much faster on the PS5. You know, it does seem like it will be a capable console, but I'm sure that Microsoft's next Xbox will be, you know, around just as capable, if not more capable, than the PS5. So, just letting you guys know. Also, the Guilty Gear 20th Anniversary Pack for the Nintendo Switch is coming out next month, May 15th. You get the original GG. You get also Accent Core Plus R. I think the R stands for Reloaded. I'm not sure, but you get those two games. The latter has online capabilities, so you can play against people online. It is going to be digital only in the US. It is not coming to PS4 either. I think it was, I don't think either of them are coming to PS4. But anyway, on Twitter I saw people were upset about this because it was not physical here. And the thing is, it's not coming to PS4, so that was the other big complaint there. You know, personally, I think that it's not coming, or I think they're putting it on Switch only digitally here in America, mainly because, from what I've heard, it would be pretty darn difficult to do long combos in Guilty Gear with a Joy-Con. You know, but still, it does suck that they're disappointing their Guilty Gear fanbase, you know. Regardless, I do think it's good that they're putting it on Switch, because then you have Guilty Gear and BlazBlue both getting more exposure by being on the console. You know, so there's that. Alright, 1 second here. Okay. Alright, moving on. There was one thing I wanted to cover regarding the initial response to BB Tag back when it was announced at EVO 2017. I know I've mentioned it. I've mentioned, like, some aspects of this before, but I thought it was worth talking about, like, the initial response. Like the day it was released, you know, the month or so after it, or the day that it was announced, and then the month or so after it was announced, how people talked about it. I really think that this is worth talking about. Mainly, I wanted to look at this from a Ruby fan perspective, because, like, I know I've expressed my opinion on this. I am a Ruby fan, obviously, but because I like BlazBlue and Persona, and I liked them before the, you know, I already liked them. It was like, for me, Ruby was like the icing on the cake. That was like, okay, I gotta buy this game. But I just wanted to look at it mainly from the perspective of a Ruby fan. So I went and I looked at the teaser trailer on YouTube that ArcSys uploaded, you know, way back, you know, around EVO 2017. And wow, like, it has over 1 million views, which I think that's awesome. But if you look at the comments, there are so many people who, it was honestly, it looked like it was pure hype. Like, there was just pure hype around this game. Not just from the Ruby fanbase, from the other fan bases too. It seemed like everyone was pretty welcoming of each other in terms of, like, you know, people didn't know what Ruby was, and then they're like, oh, you know, well, you Ruby fans, you better get ready for a good fight or whatever, you know, just some friendly, you know, whatever, like that. And then, of course, the Ruby fans were like, oh my god, Ruby's in a fighting game, oh my god. And then, you know, on top of that, the fact that this was the first good game that Ruby was a part of. You know, that was another thing that I talked about before. Ruby Grim Eclipse is not that great of a game, honestly. And it disappointed me, you know, and people saw this, and it gave the Ruby fans hope. It's like, yes, we're getting a good game. You know, that was a thing. But the biggest thing is that the fan bases were really excited over having tag teams with their favorite characters, right? And, you know, specifically, I saw, you know, a lot of different, you know, pairings of people's specific favorites. I did see people saying, you know, they want to pair Terumi with Roman, that would be cool, you know, or Adachi with Hazama. And the thing is, characters like that still aren't in the game. And I think that's one of the big reasons why between then and now, in terms of, like, just the amount of pure hype, it's so much less. It really is, and I think that sucks. I think that sucks. I'm not gonna lie, for myself, when I saw this trailer, I remember the day I saw it too, right? I remember the day, I remember where I was, I remember all of that. And I was actually visiting one of my relatives, you know, in a different state. And man, I saw it and I was just blown away. I must have watched that trailer, like, not even gonna lie, 5 times in a row. I watched other people's reactions to it. Dude, it was so satisfying. It was so satisfying. It was like, BlazBlue, it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, I like BlazBlue. And then out of nowhere, Yu Narukami appears and it's like, whoa. Persona? Alright. And then there was Hyde, which I didn't know who he was. I'm like, I don't know who that is, but whatever, there's BlazBlue and Persona. And then at the very end, out of nowhere, then Ruby Rose just pops up, and it's like, oh my god, take my money. Bro, that's literally how I felt when this game was announced. And, oh man, it was insane. It was insane. You know, it was just... It was amazing. Like, I hadn't felt that way about a game in, like, a long time leading up to that point. And then the game finally came out, and you know, but I'm getting ahead of myself. The other thing that I noticed on the comments was that a lot of the Ruby fans, you know, they were saying things like, oh man, you know, oh man, John is probably gonna be like so bad in the game, he's probably gonna be like barely viable and have like some pathetic moveset, but people still wanted to play him, you know, they still wanted him in the game. People were talking about Roman. People were like, oh man, you know, Neo is gonna be so much fun, Sinner's gonna be fun. Pretty much there was this general idea that Team Juniper, Crow, Roman, Neo, and Cinder, there was some general consensus or general idea that those characters would be in this game. And, oh my god. And of course, we all see that that is not the case. And if you even look at the Ruby subreddit, which I rarely go to, but if you look there and you go back to when this was announced, bro, it has over 1,000 upvotes on the Ruby, you know, fan page, which that's like extremely high for that fan page in case you wanted a reference. But man, and it's just like, what happened? Like, I think about it now and I'm like, what happened? And literally it's just that you know, they didn't get the Ruby fans hype died because they didn't get those characters. And I do think that, you know, we're gonna get more Ruby characters, but we're not getting all those characters. We're just not. Like, we're not getting all those characters. At this point, it would be better for the Ruby fan base to be asking for a Ruby fighting game if these characters all matter that much. Honestly, because we're not getting all these characters in this game. But anyway, it's just sad that that's the reason why the game, you know, why the Ruby fan base lost a lot of hype in the game. Between that and then between the DLC miscommunication with Blake and Yang, you know, that's that. And then even now at this point, you know, fans of other franchises will get on, well, either like message me or get on the subreddit, you know, BB Tag, and they'll say, hey, you know, like is this character in the game? Or, you know, they'll say like, hey, is Terumi there? Or when's Adachi? You know, what's Adachi's release date, right? These guys are expecting these characters to have been here or to have some kind of scheduled release by now, and that's completely reasonable, and that makes a lot of sense. But we literally can't tell them anything. Like, when they ask when's Adachi, it's like, we don't know. Like, I don't know, man. I mean, and that sucks. That really sucks. People haven't purchased this game. They're waiting to buy the game. and it's because some major fan favorite character that the people who have the game have been asking for, and anyone who saw the announcement for this game expects to be there. That's a really big problem for the game, for the moment. You know, I think that sucks. And, let me see here. Also, oh, great. Who knows, man? Maybe Tao will get confirmed. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see. Wait for next month, when those data mining should have happened. Either that or a character, some kind of season pass or something being announced. One of the two. So, let me see here. Oh, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but Eternal Oblivion, he is a YouTube content creator. He put out a video earlier today, actually, giving his thoughts primarily on the 6th Fate. So go check that out. And one of the things is, he brought up a really good point about people who are asking for Grand Blue characters to be in BB Tag, or who think that BB characters, or I'm sorry, who think that Grand Blue characters will be, coming to BB Tag as a 6th Fate. And, pretty much he said that, that would be dumb, because they have their own 2D, fighting game coming out, which I do see that point. For the most part, I agree with that. I mean, the only caveat I can say in response to that is that if the Japanese fan base have been asking for Grand Blue, like as often as, like, for example, the Western fan base has been talking about Kill la Kill, then I could see them adding it in. It's just that between the two, Kill la Kill is getting a 3D arena fighter, and Mori said he wants Ryuko and Satsuki, and Grand Blue is getting a 2.5D, game, pretty much a 2D fighting game, and Mori hasn't expressed interest in getting those characters in the game, and I don't know if the Japanese audience has expressed interest in getting them in the game, because if they haven't, it doesn't make any sense to. It really doesn't, because no matter how many Grand Blue characters they put in this game, there will be more in their home fighting game, and unless they really want to just play those characters in a tag team setting, there is no good reason for it, to be honest. If it's not for that, and if there's no demand, there's no good reason for it. Yo, Zekro, what's up, man? So that's my opinion on it. Or if Mori even said that he wanted Grand Blue characters to come to BB Tag, then it would be like, oh, okay, well, he said, yeah, he said he wants it to happen, so there's a good chance it just might happen, Also, I've seen, like, some people think that like, they make 2D versions of the character or something before they're put in, in that kind of game, in a 2.5D game where they become a model. That's actually backwards. The way that ArcSys develops their characters, if they're making a sprite, they first create the 3D model, and they turn that model into a sprite. I don't know if there is a way to turn, a sprite into a 3D model directly like that, so there was no sprite created in the process of the Grand Blue characters. They would have to go an extra step to turn those characters into sprites. Just so that's clear. So until there's some big demand either from somewhere, from the Japanese audience, from Western audience, or even if Mori said he wants it, I don't see it happening. Moving on, a couple of days ago, I asked on Twitter, like, what you guys think in terms of, like, what game has, like, the best looking sprites, or what game you think, what fighting game you think, has, like, the best looking, gameplay, things along those lines, and what kind of, and what would be, like, your dream fighting game, or your dream fighting game collaboration, right? So keep those, feel free to comment those, or if you want to think about it a little bit longer, then feel free to think about it, and then comment that. I thought about it myself. I had plenty of time to think about it. I went and took a look at some other games that I haven't, that I didn't know that well personally, just so I could see, and yeah. So I'm gonna get to that. Oh, Zekro. Let me see. Yeah, man, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. Both Fantasy Versus and Relink look like they're going to be solid games. I'm probably going to end up getting both, to be honest. Most likely, that'll be the case. Gray, Tekken. Oh, okay, you're saying a Tekken Cross Dead or Alive game would be your dream game. Okay, I got you, bro. You know what? That would probably be interesting. I have not played Dead or Alive, but that would probably be interesting to have like 2 of those 3D arena games. Well, I take that back, not arena. They are. Well, yeah. What do you call those? Because they are in an arena environment, but they're not like anime arena, if you know what I mean. I'll say 2D arena because that's what they're pretty much like, 2D arena. Yeah, you know, those 2D arena games. I think it'd be cool if they had a crossover because it's fitting, you know. Oh, alright, Zekro, good luck in the tournament, bro. Best of luck, man. I forgot what team you play, but that doesn't matter. Good luck. I'm sure you'll do fine. At the very least, you'll do fine in that tournament, bro. Gray, yes. A lot of people have been talking about Dengeki. A lot of people think that the next Fate will be Dengeki. I hope it's Dengeki or Fate. I'm thinking it'll be Dengeki. Personally, I just think that Fate would come later. That's just my thoughts. But if it's now, you know, cool. But I still want Dengeki later. If Fate comes now, I'll think that, oh no, Dengeki isn't gonna come. You know, just because it's like, it took that color, and it's already that hype, I'm like, oh no, Dengeki won't come. Like, that's what I'm probably gonna think. So, I'm hoping that it's Dengeki. Just so I don't mentally worry. Just because to me, in my mind, it makes sense for them to go from, like, smaller to bigger when it comes to their franchises. When they announce them. You know what, Gray? I do still think that Senran Kagura, I do still believe it's coming. I mean, even if Sony censorship somehow was a problem, even if that was a problem when it comes to adding those characters to this game, I see that only being the case if, for some reason, Arc System Works was going out of their way to give the Senran Kagura characters their jiggle physics and their jiggle animations in this game. You know, to give them the same exact, you know, animations for their jiggles in this game. Now, I just don't see that happening because, 1, their sprites have to be done from the ground up. 2, that's a lot of extra work on something that is superfluous and unnecessary, you know? You don't need those jiggles, brah. You don't need them. So I don't think they would have spent the time to try to get that in the game. If they did, I feel so bad for the people who had to work on that, and you know, if that is like a reason why it's being censored and they have to take those out, I feel bad for them, but I just don't think they would have taken the time to put something like that in the game. I really don't. That's what I personally think, you know, if that was the case. Yeah, Zekro, I know there isn't technically physics in this game. When I say that, I mean they would be simulating the jiggle physics from Senran Kagura's home games in this game by having them on every one of their animations. Like, they could run, there'd be excessive jiggle. So it would be like imitating the physics in their home game, but, you know, I know there isn't direct physics, but that's what I meant, bro. Pretty much, it would just be too much work if that was something that they were told to do, to animate all those extra animations and those extra frames. That would just be dumb, you know? Have them jiggle when they're standing idle. Have them jiggle when they're running. Have them jiggle with their 5A and all their other moves. I mean, that would just be annoying. Alright, let me see. Okay, so, yeah. Okay, yeah. So the next point I wanted to move on to, yeah, I took a look at some different anime fighters just so I can make, you know, my own opinions of like which ones I think have the best looking sprites and things along those lines. So I took a look at Aquapaza, and I'll be honest, that game just did not appeal to me. You know, I know that some of you guys probably like it. That's fine. That's cool. The gameplay to me just didn't. It didn't pull me in. I watched some anime Evo gameplay, and it just didn't. It really just didn't pull me in. You know, but that's just me. And I don't like how some of the sprites looked. You know, they don't look like amazing or anything. You know, the overall, it's just that the game didn't grab me. The one thing I really liked about the game is that at the character select screen, they have like the different characters and they're animated doing something in their character art. So it's an animation that's there, and I think that's cool. I would love to see something like that in BB Tag, but I'm not counting on that at all. It's probably never ever gonna happen, so don't count on it. I just think that it would be really cool if that did happen, though. Oh, yeah, Zekro. I took a look. I was actually about to talk about Nitro Plus next. I took a look at that game, and Nitro Plus, like, in my opinion, the sprites don't look amazing, but they don't look bad. I think they look better. I think they look a bit better than the Aquapaza sprites, in my opinion. But the gameplay for Nitro Plus pulled me in. I've never touched this game. I don't know how this game works, but watching some anime Evo gameplay of that, dude, it pulled me in. I'm not even gonna lie. Homura specifically. Homura looks so fun. And oh my god, like, literally after watching that, I was like, okay, we need to get Cinder and Kagura and BB Tag. Just for Homura. Just for Homura. We need her, bro. She looks so much fun to play. I mean, if we don't get Homura, then give me Wolverine or X-23. But come on. The odds aren't there for those two, so that's why I'm asking for Homura. Hopefully, you know, we do get Cinder and Kagura characters and they get in, and Homura, you know, will be there. Also, Ethica, I forgot, she's from something. I don't know, like, I looked it up what she was from, but I don't remember off the top of my head. Ethica looks really fun, too. She has, like, a chainsaw. She just looked like a really fun-to-play character. And in this game, like, all the sprites and everything were really distinct. The characters had, like, their unique looks to them, and I think the gameplay for Nitro Plus just looked fun. It's just that I know I probably wouldn't buy the game because I don't know how active the player base is, and then there's just little minor reasons of why I wouldn't go and buy the game. But I do want those characters. I would love it if Ethica came to BB Tag. I don't think that's likely because, again, she comes from some other manga. But Cinder and Kagura, Homura. If Cinder and Kagura gets in, I fully expect Homura. Alright, Zekro. Oh, yeah, I did see Saber from Fate there, too. There were just, like, little things. Like, certain sprites in the game, I was just like... you know, like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But, I don't know. Saber sprite was one of them. I was like... Does this really look like, you know, that great compared to, like, Saber as she is, like, in the anime? I don't know. It could just be me, though. Okay, great. If you want... See, for me, I don't know if Asuka... The thing is this. If they added the Cinder and Kagura characters and they were all fun to play, I think that, like, at least 80% of the player base of BB Tag, they would be happy with the characters, right? And I feel like there'd be 20% who want to act like, oh, you're adding in a bunch of big titty girls to the game, and you know, they would say whatever. Some of them would probably, you know, think the characters are cool too, but then just not admit it. But yeah, I mean, I think that the majority of people would enjoy the characters. You know, honestly, I think Homura would be really cool. I don't know, from what I found out, she's supposed to be a fan favorite, which that is really awesome to know, because that means, well, then again, maybe it's not. If we look at fan favorites for the current franchises, yeah, it's still looking a bit slim, but, you know, maybe they would listen a bit more closely when it came to other franchises. You know, maybe they'd get those right on the first, first try. Maybe. Anyway, moving on. I think that Skullgirls. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but dude, Skullgirls visually just looks so good. I think that the sprites are the best looking sprites of any fighting game. Now, I have my reasons for saying that, because I thought about it, and yes, I have to say that those are the best looking sprites for any fighting game that I have seen. And I went and I intentionally looked at a bunch of them. I looked at a bunch of the Capcom fighters. Obviously, I played BB Tag. This is going to be the best looking versions of Arxis, sprites. And of course, I looked at Examu. I looked at everything that I could find. I think that Skullgirls looks the best, in my opinion. You know what, Gray? I do think it'd be awesome if JoJo got in BB Tag. I was actually going to talk about JoJo Heritage for the Future a little bit later, because they're on the list. I put them on the list here. But yeah, if JoJo got in BB Tag, that would be awesome. But yeah, so pretty much for Skullgirls, those were all hand-drawn. Now, I told you guys that for Arxis, what they do is they make the 3D model, and then they turn that into a sprite, and that's how that works, right? It starts off as a 3D model. Now, for Skullgirls, they did everything by hand. Everything. So, they drew the character by hand, and then they hired traditional cartoon animators to animate the characters. That's why that game looks so good. That game looks like an American cartoon that you can play. And I love that. There's very, very few games that are like that. Like, Cuphead comes to mind, but when it comes to a fighting game, no other fighting game has ever done that. And I think that that's something that would be really cool to see. Now, yes, you can say, oh, Dragon Ball FighterZ looks just like the anime. It looks just like it. And I do agree with that. I do agree with that. But if you look at how Skullgirls is animated, and you just look at how everything, just how it flows in the game, and how all the animations flow, and they even had to pull back some of their animations because some of their animations were just over-animated, for a fighting game, Yo, Gray. Alright, bro. I'll definitely check that out after the stream, dude. I'll check the link after the stream, dude. Let me see here. Okay. Oh. Yeah, Zekro. I mean, Skullgirls, to be honest, as dumb as it sounds, I have Skullgirls on my console digitally. I have Street Fighter V, I have MVCI, I have Guilty Gear Xrd Rev 2. I have, all these games. I haven't put, any time into them. I can't comment on Skullgirls difficulty because I haven't really... I looked at the game and I was like, hey, this looks great. Then I go online just to see how active it is. Can't find a match. I know there's probably, a Discord group for it and everything, but I was just like, you know what? I don't even have time to learn a new fighting game right now. Forget it. That was just me. So yeah, I was just really impressed with Skullgirls overall. And I think that it would be cool if video games embraced more of that hand-drawn 2D animation. I would love that. For those of you guys who know what I'm talking about, if you remember the game Sonic CD, and the intro to that game where Sonic's running through the mountains and he's leaping through the trees. If that was fully playable, dude, if that was fully playable in a game and it was done in 2D, that would be amazing. I would love that. There is a fan-made 2D Sonic game called Sonic Freedom, but it doesn't look like it's anywhere near, done, but I think that if there were just more 2D games like that, man, that would just be great. I would love that. Yo, Zekro, yeah, I I saw how the time stop. I saw how the time stop worked in JoJo Heritage for the Future, and it was pretty funny. There's some really hilarious stuff that can happen in that game if you time stop at the right time. It's funny, bro. Someone like, I don't know who he was fighting against, because I don't know the JoJo manga, but some character was using like some sword attack or something, where it would be like a flurry of sword attacks, right? But then he time stops right before he starts, jumps behind them, and then just like pushes him to the corner, waits, the time stop ends, he's blindly attacking the corner, and then he just finishes him off. And I was just like, oh my god, that's like a huge troll move, bro. If you could do that in a current fighting game, that would be awesome. I'd love that. So yeah, the next company sprites I wanted to comment on, obviously Arc System Works. So I like the style of their sprites. You know, it's one of the reasons why I like BB Tag so much. They look, you know, really good, especially compared to some of the other ones I mentioned. You know, of course, I still think Skullgirls looks noticeably better. And funny enough, Mike Z, one of the developers for Skullgirls, he specifically commented on how the sprites in BB Tag look, saying that this game does, you know, looks like it's a budget game, which, by all means, I mean, sure, if it means we can get all the fan favorites we want, then yeah, what they've done, it's great. I honestly didn't have any complaints about it. I think it's great. I just want my characters, pretty much. But yeah, the thing is, you know, I do think that the sprites look great, but in comparison to Skullgirls, you could definitely say they look lacking. Now, I know that people say that the Ruby characters look really good, and they do. They do, for sure. But then there's just, like, little things that I noticed when they revealed the characters. So, if you look at Ruby has, she's supposed to have some ruffles in her battle skirt, right? Like, you see where that red is? And you see how it blends in almost with the cape, except for the black outline, you know, just so you know it's the end of her skirt, and then the cape is behind. There should be some ruffles there, and I don't know, maybe it's just... maybe I'm just being really, really, like scrutinizing this pretty hard, but at least for me, it's like, oh man, the ruffles aren't there. You know, it's just little things like that. If you look at her other 2D character art in other places, the ruffles are there, but they're not there in her actual sprite. And I know that that's because it would be more difficult and much more timely to animate, which makes total sense, and I'm fine with that, but it's something that I noticed. And I think that if we get a full Ruby fighting game, I would love for little details like that to be on the character, you know, on the character sprite. Just saying. Either that, or just put the Ruby characters in a 2.5D game the same way how Fighters has done. Because if they did that, they could have the model as detailed as they want, and it would be so much quicker, you know, so much less tedious, I'll put it that way. So much less tedious to animate than if it would be if it was a 2D sprite. That's just my opinion, you know. I would love for them to have the Skullgirls sort of approach when it comes to Ruby if they did a dedicated Ruby fighting game. Or, even if they do, you know, the next BlazBlue game, if they did that same take with the next BlazBlue game, that would be awesome. It's just that I'm pretty sure that they're going the 2.5D route, similar to Guilty Gear when it comes to BlazBlue. So, that's what I'm expecting. But still, it's gonna look really good, either way. Okay, so moving on. French Bread. I think that for Uni, the sprites look good. And, the style of it, I think the style of the sprites is it's unique, you know? And even though, from what I know, Uni sprites are lower resolution, but just because of the style and how they're, like, how they were made, I just think that they hold up pretty decently. At least that's my opinion. The only thing is I think that some of their animations for some supers could be flashier, but obviously that's not that important of a gripe, to be honest. For Dengeki Bunko, obviously since French Bread made that game, the sprites, still look great. I think they did a really good job capturing the look of these unique characters in Dengeki Bunko, and they all look unique. You can recognize them. The gameplay definitely draws me in without a doubt, for sure. I think the animations of some supers, some of them look amazing, right? Then some of them, they're just like little gripes where I'm just like, they could have done it a little bit differently. Like Shizuo's super, where he like hurls a bunch of poles and vending machines at the opponent or whatever. It happens so quick that it's like the movement of it is too quick. It needs to be a bit slower, but not that slow. Like, like how for Rachel's full screen super, the different things move across the screen at a slower speed. It should be between there and where it is now, because right now it's just like, it just looks unreal in terms of the speed, but that's just like a minor gripe. Overall, I just think, Dengeki Bunko sprites look good. I would love to see them added to BB Tag. When I was watching some anime Evo gameplay, like, I saw there was like some little girl who, in her combo, she turns the opponent into a freaking basketball, dude, and then just like makes 3-pointers with them. And that was ridiculous, man. I just thought, like, if that game was at Evo, or if we got Dengeki characters in BB Tag, and this girl, I think her name was Tomoka, if this girl got into BB Tag, bro, imagine what the commentators will have to say if this character was being played. Someone, like, turns a character into, like, a basketball, makes a 3-pointer, active switches out of them to, like, Wald, and then Wald catches them midair and slams on the ground. Bro, can you imagine what they would have to commentate? That would be hilarious, dude. I would love that. I would love that, man. I really hope they do come to BB Tag, honestly. Moving on to Capcom. Yeah, so in general, like I said earlier, I'm not that big of a fan of their sprite style, just personal preference, but I think their JoJo sprites look really good considering they originated on PS1. They look so distinct and like the characters, and man, like, they did a really good job capturing the look of the characters. Like, I'm surprised, honestly. And if this was on PS4, just remastered, oh man, I would definitely be playing that game. I would be streaming that game. We need a 2D fighting game for JoJo. I hope ArcSys makes one. That would be amazing. And I have a few dream fighting game collabs that I would love to see happen. The first one would be between Arc System Works and Studio Trigger. Now, just like how I mentioned before, how for Skullgirls they hand drew everything and had traditional cartoon animators animate everything so it looked like an American cartoon. I think that it would be cool if Arc System Works, created the movesets and the mechanics for a fighting game, and then Trigger hand drew their characters and they animated all their moves. That would look so good. That would pretty much be the anime equivalent of Skullgirls if they did that. I think that would be really impressive. I'd love to see that done. You'd see hand-drawn Ryuko and Satsuki, going at it. Akko, the Darling and the Franxx characters, all of that. That would be so cool to see. Another one that I think would be awesome to see would be a collaboration between Arc System Works and Madhouse Studios. Now, if you guys know, Madhouse Studios animated the first season of One Punch Man, so if you saw it, then you know what those really good action scenes look like. If you guys, even if you, let's say you haven't seen it, you can go and look up the fight between Saitama and Genos on YouTube. You can look up Saitama's last fight. The way that it's animated is so good. So good. Like, if they had them animate a fighting game, it would be, like, you guys think that Fighters is over the top with how it looks, right? Fighters is flashy. But I feel like a fighting game animated by Madhouse Studios, dude, like, that would top Fighters in terms of being over the top. I'm not even joking. I really see that happening. I really see that being the case. I mean, I think that when it comes to 3D models and everything like that, yes, they can visually have that look, and I think that they can recreate the look of anime so close that if you look at it and within the context of how they do things, yes, you know, it does look just like the anime. But if you wanted something that didn't just replicate a look of an anime, and it looked so good itself that you would look at it and then you would think that it, you know, you would think it's an anime until you notice that it's like, oh, the way those characters are moving, you know, oh, this is a game. You know, I think that if Madhouse Studios worked on a fighting game like that, I think that would be the case. Like, you turn on Evo, right? And then it would just be like, whoa, why are they playing an anime? And then it's like, oh my god, that's an actual game. That's what I think it would be like. I think it would be amazing. And specifically, I don't know if you guys know, but Madhouse animated Anime Marvel, because there's an Anime Marvel series where they had Wolverine, Deadpool, and Iron Man, you know, different characters like that. I think it'd be awesome if Arc System Works, Marvel, and either Madhouse or Trigger, but most likely Madhouse since they worked on a previous Marvel, you know, Marvel project, if they all worked together and they made a 2D Marvel fighting game, you know, with their classic American look, not like an anime look, but with their classic American look, I think that would be awesome. Gray, I don't know, man. I'm actually looking at it now. I'm actually watching my stream right now as I stream, just so like I can check myself. But yeah, at least on my end, I'm not getting buffering. At least on my end. I don't know, man. Who knows? Maybe it's something up with Twitch today. We'll see. At the very least, I don't know. Everything's looking good, at least from my end. At the very least, though, you know the upload's going to be on YouTube, and of course it'll be up here as soon as I'm done. So if there was a part or whatever that got cut out, you'll always be able to take a look at it, and then on YouTube, you know, comment about it, and of course I'll look at it and I'll reply. But yeah, I would love it if there was a Marvel fighting game done by ArcSys and animated by Madhouse. Honestly, if there was any 2D project at all, you know, hand-drawn, that was animated by Madhouse, I'd love that. I'd love it. That'd be amazing. So yeah, that was pretty much it for today. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the main thing I wanted to cover. I'll do a few sets, and then that's gonna be it for the stream. Oh, lastly, don't expect any BB Tag announcements this Friday for the Arcnama. I say that because they mentioned some of the things they're going to be talking about in their Arcnama stream, and they did not mention BB Tag at all. They mentioned something else. I don't remember what, but it was something that was not BB Tag related at all. So just giving you guys a heads up. Next month is when we should have something. I'm thinking that they're going to... You guys know how sometimes they just do a randomly, you know, planned Arcnama on a certain day or a certain weekend. That's what they're going to have to do for next month, because if they wait until the third Friday of May, it's going to be past mid-May, if I remember correctly. Let me double check the calendar really quick before this match starts. Yeah, it would be May 18th. That's a little bit past mid-May, so I hope that wouldn't be the case. There we go. You know, but we'll have to wait and see. There we go. But yeah, hopefully, you know, they have to tell us something. Oh man, I mistimed it by a little bit. That was my bad. Okay, I was so sure that... Wow. Dude, oh my god. Mai comes out and then blocks stop working. I'm not even joking, dude. There we go. I swear, like, she did a cross-up, and then for some reason, I wasn't able to block that at all. Oh man, I could have done the cross combo. There we go. So yeah, sometime in May, before then, I'm thinking, you know, I'm thinking that they're gonna have some kind of stream or something really quick, or they could just drop a trailer that explains everything, because they wanted to keep it a secret pretty much what the pricing would be for the characters, which I think is really weird. And if they were free, why is this such a big deal to just be like, oh, well, the characters are free with the update? That would be really simple. So the fact that they seem to have planned an announcement around it makes me pretty sure they planned on announcing something. But we'll have to wait and see. I could have sworn I picked Wald on point. Alright. Oh my god, this character. There we go. Don't jump. Oh no, DP. Why didn't I know? Why didn't I know that was coming? What? Oh my god. That took too long. Dude, oh my goodness. Finally. I swear, Mai is such an annoying character.
You done? No.